If you've ever seen a nature documentary where they're looking at insects, you're probably fascinated with how they do that. How does the camera physically do that? At least I am. Well, that's called macro photography, and it's the art of making small things look very big against your camera's sensor or film. And I always thought macro photography was out of my reach. Like, I have these old vintage kit lenses that have a macro setting, but like real macro. Every tutorial that I've seen for it starts with a $500 lens, a ring flash, so I ignored it. But then a friend actually gave me these, and I realized I was wrong. These are diopters. They screw onto the front of your lens, just like any other filter. But then they increase the magnification of your lens. The set I have, this is a +1, +2, +4, and +10. And you can use them individually or you can stack them together, and they turn almost any lens into a macro lens. So here's the math. A +10 diopter has a focal length of 100 millimeters. So when you screw it onto a lens, your maximum focusing distance becomes roughly 10 centimeters. Your minimum focusing distance is even closer. So on a 135 millimeter lens like this vintage Pentax lens, this +10 filter gives you around a 1-to-1 magnification, which is in the range of true macro. If you could compare that to a dedicated macro lens, a new Sony 90 millimeter macro, say that 5 times fast, costs about $1,100. A used vintage macro lens like the Pentax 100 millimeter f4, that's still going to run you $150 to $250. But these filters, it's $15 to $20 for the whole set. And as long as you get the right filter thread, or you get step up and step down rings, you can fit anything. The key is just matching the filter to the lens. These filters work best on longer focal lengths. So my Sigma 30 millimeter is sharp, and it's got a very close focusing distance already. But with a +10 filter, the working distance is just barely a few centimeters. So when I get too close, I'm casting shadows on my subject just by holding the camera. The 135 here gives me more room. The working distance is around 4 to 6 inches. It's enough space for light, and you can actually compose. But you don't need these exact lenses, let me be clear. These filters come in almost every filter thread size: 49 millimeter, 52, 55, 58, 62, 67, 72, 77. And again, if you get a 77 big and then get step down rings, it'll work. If your lens has a filter thread, there's a set of diopters that fit it. And you know, vintage telephoto lenses like this are everywhere. So this 135, this is the Pentax, so you know, $50 to $100. It's a f2.5, prime, but a 200 millimeter might be even cheaper. And the longer the lens, the more magnification you get from the same filter. Like, okay, there are downsides. So you can stack these filters for a total of +17 magnification, but stacking the filters degrades the image quality. So just the +10 by itself, you're losing maybe 2 stops of light. And if you have all 4, you're basically looking through a foggy window. You lose a lot of light, you lose a lot of sharpness, there's chromatic aberration. So that means you're going to be trying to shoot wide open, so you're going to lose that sharpness as well. You're going to push your sensitivity up. And I highly recommend using a tripod in this situation. All this B-roll that you're seeing, this is shot on a tripod. The jitter is literally from my hand. Like, it's that close. But for $20, if you're not shooting for a client, if you're not printing billboards, if you just want to see what you can take a picture of that small, if you want to look at your fingerprints, if you want to see the ridges on a coin, if you want to see the fibers in a piece of paper, the texture of a leaf, flowers, if you want to see the world up close for the first time, $20 is pretty worth it. You don't need a $500 macro lens to dip your toes into macro photography. You just need these filters, an old vintage telephoto, and the curiosity to point your camera at things you've never really looked at before. Get out there and look at something in a different way.